Good morning, and welcome to Wednesday Morning Coffee Break. I want to thank you for joining Wednesday Morning Coffee Break, for taking time out of your day just to spend a few minutes with a little devotion. God bless you. Hope you're having a good morning. Hope you got your coffee. We all need a little bit of coffee to get us cranked up, don't we? Again, thank you for joining me for Wednesday Morning Coffee Break. This morning, I want to talk about the day after the election. The day after the election. The midterm elections are over. You know, it is a privilege for us and an honor for us to be able to vote. It really is. Many have prayed for the outcome of this election. You've prayed for who God would have in these positions of leadership over our states and over our country as a whole. You've prayed about who you wanted to vote for, and you've prayed that God would put the right person on your heart. So what do we do now, the day after the election? Well, first of all, we don't have to be watching those commercials, but there's something else that we do. Did you know that the Bible gives instructions to both leaders and those who are being led? It does. Here's a couple of messages to the leaders. Psalm 2, verses 10 through 11 says this: Now then, you kings, act wisely. Be warned, you rulers of the earth. And the psalm said, serve the Lord with reverent fear and rejoice with trembling. In Proverbs, the Bible tells the leaders that without wise leadership, a nation falls. There is safety in having advisors, many of them. Then in Job, the Lord reminds us that it is He who builds up nations. It is He who destroys them. It is He who expands nations and abandons them. It is also He who strips kings of understanding and leaves them wandering in a pathless wasteland. God said in Job that they grope in darkness without a light, and He makes them stagger like drunkards. And then Paul says in Philippians 2, verse 3, and this is for all of us, not just the leaders, but this is for everyone. Don't be selfish, and don't try to impress others. Be humble, thinking of others as better than yourselves. Don't look out for your own interest, but take an interest in others too. Now, that's some wise words to the leaders, but there's some words for us, the followers. Romans 13, verses 1 and 2, Paul says, everyone must submit to governing authorities. For all authority comes from God, and those in positions of authority have been placed there by God. So anyone who rebels against authority is rebelling against what God has instituted, and they will be punished. In 2 Peter, Peter tells us in the 2nd chapter, verses 13 through 14, to be subject for the Lord's sake to every human institution, whether it be to the emperor as supreme, or to the governors as sent by him to punish those who do evil and to praise those who do good. And then in 1 Timothy chapter 2, verses 1 and 2, Paul said, I urge you, first of all, to pray for all people. Ask God to help them. Intercede on their behalf and give thanks for them. And then he says this, and pray for kings and all who are in authority, so that we can live peaceful, quiet lives marked by godliness and dignity. That's what God tells us to do now for those who have been elected into office. You know, the person that we wanted to win might not have won, but that does not excuse us from praying for that person, for praying for all of those who will be leading our nation. Some things I don't understand, but the Bible tells us that we can always depend on God. We can always depend on God. Franklin D. Roosevelt is credited with saying this, I ask that our people devote themselves to a continuance of prayer as we rise to each new day, and again when each day is spent, let words of prayer be on our lips. Oh, that's a good word. That's a good word for us. So this morning, let's not let up on our praying for our leaders and for our nation. Our country needs leaders who will lead from the authority that God gives them and based on his principles. So let's don't stop praying. Let's don't stop praying for our leaders. Even the Bible tells us to pray for our leaders. I hope y'all have a wonderful day. I hope you have a great rest of the week. And I plan to be back with you next Wednesday for Wednesday morning coffee break. You're welcome to share this devotion if you like, and I would appreciate it very much. Now, you have a good day. God bless you, and I'll see you next week on Wednesday morning coffee break. Bye now.